Do I have sound now? Do I have sound now? Maybe. Sound now? Sound now? Now that I'm on channel 1? Or no sound? I have sound? Putting it on channel 1 worked? Okay, that's cool. Yeah, well, apparently you always have to choose channel 1 when you're streaming with OBS. I recently discovered this feature that you can actually stream sound into multiple different channels with the same video file, and then it makes it really easy to actually edit videos better, because then you have finally different track for the DAW and for the microphone. But apparently it is not supported on streams that you have multiple channels. Okay, nice that this is resolved. So now the things that I say actually make sense. First of all, hello everyone. I hope you have a nice time, a nice evening or day or whatever. I'm currently working on my plugin NEL, and I wanted to change something about it. I don't know about you all, but I always had the feeling that no one really understood what the buffer sizes feature is for in it. If you can confirm that, then that would be cool. Or if you think that it's not true, then you can also tell me that. But there is a thing, you can go into the menu and change the buffer size of the entire vibrato. So a very high buffer size creates very scratchy sounds, and a very low one is creating more of a subtle vibrato. And then you can fine tune it with the depth parameter. However, people, I don't know, I've never seen anyone else than me talking about it, so I guess people didn't like it or didn't understand. So I wanted to make it a little more straightforward. One of the ideas was that I just put some default values up here, and now I wanted to go even further and make it a parameter instead of just random state that is not a parameter. Even though buffer sizes should not be automated, but I guess, I mean, oversampling is also often a parameter, even though it should not be automated in plugins. So people usually understand that you cannot automate everything, right or wrong. I think it's correct. So that's why I want to make it a parameter. So I just made a range for that. This method returns a range if you give it a vector of buffer sizes, and GitHub Copilot helped me figure out how this would be written. I still have to test if it works. And I made this parameter down here with some values like 1 milliseconds, 4, 12. Or actually, in my val2string function, I could add the word milliseconds to make it more clear. And I don't know, maybe the ones that are above 1000 should be just seconds. Or maybe, yeah. Okay, so if value is lower than 1000, then this, and else this will be divided by 1000, and then it is k. Yeah. Okay, that sounds reasonable. I don't need all this. I don't like the juice thingy. Okay, whatever. String to buffer size value. Okay, now it's the other way around. What happens when the user inputs a string and it should become a buffer size? Then oh no, I have to consider the k and the milliseconds. So I think I should start with the milliseconds. Drop last characters or something. Come on, IntelliSense, let's go. Okay, let's just try to actually write it. The last characters have to be milliseconds. And it's a new string. And now this string either works or it doesn't, depending on if it has a k. So if and string the last character is a k, then something happens, and else something else happens. So okay, I have an idea. We are dropping the k, and then we can finally get the float value out of it. And then this float value is going to be multiplied with 1000, because now we go the other way around of what had to be done in val to string, I guess. Yeah. And else, if all this is not the case, then just return the float value. Yeah, that should be correct. Okay, I'm just guessing here. Let's just take that now, and we will see soon enough if it doesn't work. Yeah, that's how I create my parameters. I think about ranges, and I think about val to strings, and I think about string to vals to just have it really clean. Because I don't like that there are so many plugins that don't implement them correctly. So that should be a thing. The only thing that I don't like in this project is that I don't have my formula parser in here yet. Typically, I have a formula parser so that I don't have to use the get float value function, but I can just use my formula parser on the string, and then it will also figure out things like whatever you write that looks like this and create a value from it. But yeah, I don't have the formula parser in this project, so this would not work. Okay. So the next step to make this a parameter would be to actually find a good place for it in the UI. So where was the part of the UI where I actually have all the stuff? I think it is all in the plugin editor in this project. This project is a little bit messy. Normally I have multiple components in a hierarchy or something, but here it's just all in the same place. So I have to think a little bit about it. Let's just put it here. Okay, so it comes after the visualizer in the initializer list. Where is the visualizer? It should be here. Where is it actually? Down here? That's wrong. That is wrong. The initializer list has to have the correct sequence, or something can go wrong. Okay, buffer sizes. Now this is the GUI code. It gets my utils object. It gets a name. Buffer sizes. That might be too long. I have to come up with something shorter maybe. Switch between different buffer sizes for the vibrato. This is a tooltip. And now, what's the next step? Oh yeah, the ID, so that it knows which parameter it is, which is buffer size. It should be buffer sizes, I guess. Let's not be too pedantic now. I want to know if it works. Okay, GitHub Copilot wants me to finish it off like this. Let's see if it makes sense. So the next thing is parameter type button. It should be knob, surely. And then it wants to add even more stuff, which makes absolutely no sense. Okay. Something is not right yet. What is it? Oh yeah, the modulatables array. So there is an array with modulatables, which means that this is passed to my parameter randomizer at the end, so that it is able to randomize all parameters. It actually makes no sense to implement it like this, because you can just loop through all the PIDs and modulate them directly. You don't have to know what the knobs are like. But this is how I implemented it in this project, so I don't mess with it now. Something's still not right. What is it? Tooltip. Name. Modulatables. PID. Wait, the PID comes before the modulatables. Okay. Okay, now it's correct, I guess. So I have to add it. Comes here. Okay, nice. Now resized. There is some point now where the current buffer sizes can be selected, and I will just replace it with my parameter. I guess it is this. Depth mode. It's called depth mode at the moment. It is this, right? But what did I even do here? I'm glad I'm going to delete it. First, just comment it out, just to be safe. Which layout thing was it? Oh, main params. Okay. No, not depth mode, but buffer sizes. But depth mode cleaned sounds better, I think. Maybe I should rename it later. Okay, now it is there. So I think that's everything that needs to be done in order for this to run again. No, obviously not. You always forget something. What is it this time? Oh, drop last characters wants a number to drop and not a bunch of characters. Okay. Yeah, okay. I guess then I have to use a different method for that. Remove characters. That was the one. Actually, I think the empty space can be ignored. And then also remove characters, everything where there is an empty space. Okay. Now that should do the thing, do the trick. String. Okay, now I can remove characters. Okay. And. That works. Let's go. Now I have this super ugly looking buffer sizes knob here instead of the buttons with the buffer sizes. I still have to create a radio button thingy for my project. It's also missing in the Perlin noise modulator, where I want the shape parameter to be a radio button, because it only has 3 states and it makes no sense with a knob. It should rather be 3 buttons here, but yeah, I don't have it yet. And the buffer sizes, yeah, that seems to work. As you can see, it draws the correct string. Now we can also try to like enter a value and see if it is correctly interpreted. Yeah, that was correct. Now let's type in something that doesn't exist, and it also goes to 69. Okay, let's type in something smaller, 20. Now where does it go? 24. So it kind of rounds up, I guess. I don't have a problem with that, at least not for now. Seems more or less logical. Now I do want this thing to be more centered. Where was it? Here. Okay, let's go. Okay, now I have a centered buffer sizes knob that doesn't look very nice, but it's already at the right place, and that's cool. And you can change the buffer size in a smoother way in terms of look and feel. But the logic is not implemented yet, and I still have to delete what was here before. What was that? Depth mode of a depth mode array. Okay. So let's remove that, because otherwise I will forget it later. So where is depth modes? Here. So this was a very convoluted way to make a radio button. I had an array of buttons, and then I had to write the radio button logic somewhere, which was annoying. So where are my depth modes? See how ugly that looked. That was not nice. That's why I wanted to have a parameter, because it was not nice looking in my code. And here was the part where I described the logic for the radio button, which didn't even work very well. So I don't know, I guess I should not keep it because it was not cool. Actually, that's not a lot. Where's the rest of the logic? Is that all or what? Anyway, getting rid of it. What is this? Okay, I guess I don't need that as well, because now I have a parameter, so can also get rid of that. What was that? Oh, that was also something about that. So this was very complicated. I even had to use the sample rate from the audio processor here for some stuff, and yeah, that's really not very nice when you have to do that in the GUI. It's always a sign that something was working in a too confused way. Now, did I remove everything that needs to be removed? I think I did. Let's test. By the way, does it make sense to make coding streams, or I don't know, because usually I like my content to be kind of not so long, but streams are like the opposite of it, and the only upside is that it's interactive, that you can interact with me at all times. I don't know if that's enough to make it interesting. Okay, so that built, so it's cool. Nice, nice. Oh, and I increased the frame rate on the waveform. Now it looks pretty nice to scroll through different waveforms. I always find that very satisfying to look at, but maybe it's just because I implemented it. Okay, now I actually need to implement the functionality of the buffer size thing. And then I can also change what my save patch method is doing, and also the load patch one. Because in my last implementation, I needed to manually save and load these types of state. The buffer size, where is it? Is it delay size? Yeah. So this was the part where I did that. And now I can probably remove that, because I am handling that with a parameter now. Also a reason why I like to do that with parameters. So I can just have less code in places like this that are already hard to read. So now I have to look very closely at it so I don't make anything wrong. So this is indeed the delay size of the vibrato, and it saves the delay size. So this method is called when the plugin closes. Yeah, and I'm saving the patch, so that when it loads next time, it knows the delay size. But now I can get rid of it because it doesn't matter anymore. Yeah, that's right. Everything else still has to be here, like the currently selected modulators and stuff. Okay, load patch. There has to be something as well. Mod type. Okay, it's modulators, mods. What is this? This is the delay size stuff. So yeah, I can get rid of this. Okay, good. But still, the delay sizes are not implemented now, or the buffer sizes. Now the buffer sizes thing is special. Usually all the parameters would be checked in process block, That's the case with normal parameters, but parameters that are not real-time safe, like oversampling or buffer sizes thingies, they should be checked in something that is called from the message thread, which is why my processor inherits from timer, and I have a timer callback. And I'm already checking for the oversampling state here. And now I have to add something. But whoa, what is all this? Okay, this is if the latency changed for some reason. And the latency changes when the oversampling has changed, because a new oversampling means that that there is a different amount of latency. Okay, is there anything else that adds to the latency? Okay, yeah, obviously if look ahead is even enabled or not. And now the buffer sizes will be changed as well. But how do I even check that? Let's see. Okay, we need the buffer sizes. The current buffer size from the array, from the parameter, rounded to the next value. So get value sum is my parameter method for getting the modulated output, even though I don't want anyone to modulate the buffer size. That would be terrible. But I just do it for consistency because I'm doing that with all of my parameters. Okay, integer. Now this is an integer of the buffer size. Now I need to compare that with the buffer size of the vibrato. Buffer size vibrato is, what is it? No, this time GitHub Copilot didn't know what I want to do, which is totally okay. Get size in milliseconds. Oh, okay. Let me think. This is, the vibrato is always oversampled, so I need to use the sample rate from the oversampler. Yeah, and this is a double, but this one also wants double. Okay, that's good. And then that can also be rounded and casted to integer, so that it can be compared nicely. Now buffer size changed is this. Okay, nice. Let's go make all that const. It will definitely not change within this method. Now, did the oversampling change? Did the look ahead change? Or did the buffer size change? Then force prepare to play. Yeah, that sounds reasonable. So force prepare to play does this. It suspends processing, then it calls prepare to play, and then it it resumes processing. This makes it thread safe to change buffer sizes and stuff like that. It's kind of a hard solution. It can create clicky noises on these transitions, but that's why it should only be done with things that are like an exception, like changing the oversampling state or this. So now I have to go to prepare to play and make sure that this logic is considered here. So at the moment I'm getting the delay size from my state with this convoluted looking line, but now instead of doing this I will just use my parameter. No, that's not how I want to do it. Mod sys get parameter of. Okay, do I have this here already? Buffer size. Okay. Get val sum. Okay, this now returns a float, And oh, I actually work with double here. So let me cast that so that actually works fine. Now, and as you can see in my last logic, I had a lot of edge cases, like it can be smaller than 0, it can be is none, it can be is infinite, and stuff like that. And now I can completely get rid of that because I know that parameters won't act up like that. Yeah, I know it's too complicated, and that's exactly why I'm changing it, because it was too complicated to me as well. I didn't like looking at it. So now I can get rid of all of this, and that's pretty nice. Okay, now I have the delay size in samples by calculating that. Actually, I'm confused now. Why am I using the sample rate for the delay size when the vibrato is in the oversampler? That makes no sense to me. Or am I doing that wrong at the moment? But it can't be wrong, because I definitely know that it sounds the same oversampled and not. And it wouldn't if it... now I'm really confused. Anyway, we have to try if this actually works before we make any assumptions. And I will put this a little bit higher so that I can get rid of this. Okay. Okay, I think I have everything in it now. It can be tested now. Nice, it doesn't work. Who doesn't love a bug that you cannot even touch because it kinda hangs? Okay, let's just pause the processing and see where it hangs. It hangs in the run loop of the entire application. That's bad. That's usually something that I do not know how to resolve. Does it happen every time? Vector subscript out of range. Yeah, which vector? I want to know. Hello. Hello, can you please tell me? Why does it refuse to tell me? Okay, apparently I made a new vector, and that vector crashes. But where did I even make a vector? Didn't make a vector in this class. Can only be the parameter initialization thing. Or can it? Because I'm not really... Actually, or maybe it's because I'm using the parameter now. So in order to find out what's going wrong here, I can just put some dummy values here first and see if it works again then. Okay, now the thing is always 13 milliseconds. And in the other method, I just pretend like it is always 13 milliseconds as well. And if it runs again now, then something about the parameter doesn't work. Great, so now I found out something about why it doesn't work. Nice debugging technique, isn't it? So something about this parameter creates some terrible crash when I actually try to read the value. The question is, what is it? What could go wrong about this? Now this is the part that's probably going to be really annoying about coding. Up until this point, it was all exciting, I guess. Like I was trying to implement this feature, and it was like boom, 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 going to the GUI, going back to the audio processor. But now it's going to be really boring and just this bug. Where is the bug? But okay, I'm here for the challenge. That's why I started this stream. So what could go wrong here? I'm multiplying the normalized value with a buffer size is -1. So the highest value that it can be at is, well, the highest index. And then I'm casting that to int and I'm rounding it. Can this ever be buffer size's size? Maybe because I'm rounding it, I don't know. Maybe I should floor it instead and then suddenly it works. I don't know. I can probably just debug it and find out what this does. It makes more sense to debug it than to actually think about it. Output. So now we have 4. That makes no sense. We are definitely not on 4 but on 69 for 20. Oh, alright, these are the index values. Yeah, so we are on index 0, index 1, index 2, index 3, index 4, index 5, index 6. So all this makes sense. And when I'm putting the actual values in here, then I can probably read them out as well. So this part of the method apparently already makes sense. But we check anyway. 2 seconds. 420, 69, 24. The lowest one is 1. Okay. This definitely works. Now this one might not work. It does look a little bit more sketchy to me anyway. So what can we do to check? Maybe we can first of all debug the index that is always in here. And I also want to find out if it ever doesn't find a value. Okay. Okay. I just forgot. This method is actually very rarely ever not called, but called, because it's only needed for things like typing in a value. Like I'm typing in 50 and then it gives me the 4th index, which is 24. Wait, no, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the 4th one is 69. That kind of makes sense with an input of 50. So this one is probably also not the reason why it goes wrong. That wouldn't make a lot of sense. So I will put my buffer size thing back in place very carefully. Comment this one out and see if it breaks again. Okay, so this apparently doesn't break. So maybe it breaks when I'm actually moving the parameter. No, it doesn't. But still, I wanna debug the things that are going on here, so I get a better understanding of what could be the issue. After all, I need to find out what part of the code that I just wrote actually doesn't work the way I think it would or should. Okay, so this is constantly being called and the buffer size parameter is on 1, but the buffer size of the delay keeps on being on 13, which makes sense because that is exactly what I did in the what I wrote in the hey, wait, that doesn't make sense. What I wrote in prepare to play. But now I found actually out what makes no sense, which is that the value here is always 0 or 1, but it should be denormalized. I think val sum denorm is the function for denormalized values. Yeah, that must be the reason why it didn't work all the time. It tried to make buffers that are just 0 milliseconds long, and obviously that doesn't make a lot of sense. And because it doesn't make sense, it crashed. Now everything makes sense. Everything falls into place. Again. Thank you for your compliment, by the way. I don't know if I'm actually skilled at programming. I'm so slow. A lot of times people have released like 10 plugins already, and I'm still sitting on my silly little bugs here. I always feel very slow, even though I kind of like my workflow. Okay, now I can change the buffer size, and you can see it on the visualizer that it kind of disrupts the plugin whenever I'm doing that. But I still need to test if it actually sounds like anything. So let's run it as VST. I do make coding videos sometimes. It's just I like testing plugins, and that's easier to do. So my YouTube channel might look a little bit like I'm more about testing plugins, but I'm actually making plugins all the time. And I should probably take some of the things that I'm doing here and make dedicated videos about it, like this whole thing with forced prepare to play. I don't know if I made a video about it yet, but it's kind of powerful, even though it's easy. Okay, now there is a project, but I don't want to use such a big project now. I want to use a small one like this. I don't know if the sound is actually transferred to the stream. Is it? Or is it not? Because if it's not, then I can probably just do the same thing that I did before, where I it is? Okay. Okay, that's cool. So that means I can actually show you how I test my plugin now. So now I have the buffer size on 1, and let's just play it back. Yeah, that works exactly as I would have imagined it. So it disrupts the whole audio stream for a second or something, because it needs to prepare everything again, but then it just works just as I wanted it to. So yeah, this feature seems to be done now. This is solved. So I can go to my to-do list and remove it from my to-do list. Where was it? Where was the thing? Didn't I have it on my to-do list? Oh no, that means I cannot remove it from my to-do list, and I still have just as many points. Where is it? Someone saw it. Oh, maybe make buffer size to param. Yeah, that's definitely the thing. Okay, I can remove it. Nice. Let's go. So which is the least annoying thing that I can do now? Oh fuck, that's all really bad stuff. And sometimes some of the stuff I will not do, by the way. So I hope you don't get hyped about everything. For example, the post modulator wave shapers. I would really love to add them, but I'm trying to write. I'm trying to draw the plugin on a piece of paper all the time in order to find out where I would even fit them in. But I just have no solution. Also the dimension stuff, and I have some problems like I don't even know how to code a frequency shifter. yet, so I cannot do that. At the moment there is just one dimension, which is vibrato. Okay, also then I don't want to implement sidechain now because that's really complicated, but that would be pretty cool because there is an envelope follower in here, and well, it uses the envelope of the input signal to add vibrato. As you can see, that's kind of cool. And yeah, it would be even cooler if one could select a sidechain input for that, so that a different signal modulates the vibrato of this signal. At least I would find that pretty cool, because I always love alternative use cases for sidechaining. Everyone is always like, sidechaining is just compression, but it really isn't. And I want this to be a sidechain feature as well. Learning C++ is on your to-do list. Yeah, you should really do that if you enjoy watching me code, because it's definitely fun. Okay, but implementing sidechain is kind of hard in Juice, because there are a lot of bugs that can occur in very subtle stuff that kind of keeps you from even being able to build the plugin at all. And I'm not in the mood for that now. I want to find something simpler. What can I do? One of my challenges is that the triangle wave is not cool yet. Maybe you can help me out with that, with your ideas. There is an LFO with a triangle wavetable. And the wavetable works like this. It just shifts the center of the triangle around. And triangles in general are pretty cool as vibratos, because they sound like a pitch shifter that that keeps on changing if it pitches up or down. And I think that sounds even better when it's being tempo synced. Let's say choose something very fast. So I was oh, the music is too loud. Thanks for telling me. Can you tell me how much too loud it more or less is, like, so that I can turn it down? Like more or less, which value? Maybe 6 decibels or something? Let's just try -6. And you tell me if it's cool. Is that more the volume that it should be? Okay, I don't know. Yeah. Okay, so my problem with the wavetable of the triangle wave is that I cannot come up with a good idea how to make the triangles become something else that still makes sense. So my last idea was that I'm just shifting this point because it creates the following sensation. And I mean, that's kind of cool because it has this sensation like the whole pitch is shifting and not just this back and forth thing going on. But when you're pushing it to the extreme, it suddenly gets very clicky, and I don't like the clickiness of this. And it gets clicky because there is this harsh transition here that sounds almost discontinuous. And that's why I would like to come up with a new wavetable that has something to do with triangles. And my goal would be that one of its states, for at the moment it's the 50% state, is just a normal triangle, and the other states are something else that has something to do with triangles and sounds good. You say that it's fine. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Yeah, I mean, it can be kind of cool, but it can also suck. I'm very undecided about it. I'm not so much undecided about the other waveforms, like the Weierstrass one. It starts with a sine wave. And then it goes into something that's more complex, but still sounds like a sine wave. Yeah, so that's already pretty cool. So that would be a wave table that I'm already very happy with. But the triangle one is still undecided. So if anyone has a cool idea for wave tables that have something to do with triangles and that would work with vibratos, then let me know what that would more or less be like, and I can maybe try it. But for now I don't have an idea, so I have to put this on hold for now. So another thing that I have here is the mod dial. It should work with scroll wheel, and it should show the modulated value while being dragged or scrolled, and maybe removing the mod dragger. Let's see what kind of idea that is, because I recently implemented the feature that one doesn't have to drag the mod dragger to add a modulation, but just drag on the mod dragger directly, as long as this mod's currently selected. I guess I still need the mod dragger though, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to select a different modulator. So I can remove that from my list. The mod dragger still needs to be there. So the next thing I could implement is the scroll wheel functionality, because at the moment I cannot scroll wheel this thing. It will for some reason scroll the entire parameter and not the modulation. So that would be something that I could implement now, because it's not too much of a hassle. I want to get the easy stuff done for now, especially in a stream, because otherwise I could get stuck so bad. I don't know, and that might make sense as content as well, but I really don't want it to be too much of a drag. So okay, now I will show you the ugliest file in this whole project, which is modsys GUI, a huge header file that contains all of the GUI objects of this project. And yeah, nowadays I have separate files for all of these, but here I just put them all into one big row, and it's thousands of lines. But at least I always know where I can find things, which is in this file. That's why I did it like that initially, I guess. And this time I'm searching for parameter. Parameter is the thing that's all of the knobs. And every parameter has a mod dial. So that's the little thing that you can drag to change something about the modulation. And this thing has functions for mouse behavior, like mouse down, drag up, and double click, and now it needs mouse wheel. I'll just copy that from the actual knob for now, so I don't have to rewrite everything. I will have to rewrite something though, so let me find out what is the difference. So if the parameter is logged, actually it has to be written like this from here, or like this. Yeah, if the parameter is logged, then we return, what is this? If there's any mouse button down, then also return. Yeah, that makes sense. So it can either be scrolling or not scrolling. Now I can get rid of this whole if else thing, because the mod dial cannot be a switch. That's nice. Okay. So all this can go home now. So what's now? Is the mod wheel reversed? Okay, I can keep that. Is it the trackpad? I don't know what this magic value is here. Whatever. Drag. Okay, this is all just the logic for dragging. And then if is shift down, then sensitive drag. Okay, that sounds reasonable, but at the end something different must happen. Let me just check how it looks in mouse drag. I can probably just take the code from there. So set connection depth of this connection index with the current depth. And then update the drag value. No, I don't need to update drag values. Okay, let me just put that here. And now the depth value is parameter value plus drag. No, that's just drag y. Or is it? Let me put this away, it's confusing me. Now, where is the old value in this calculation? That makes no sense. Oh yeah, it must be this whole thing. Okay, so I'm limiting between -1 and 1, and I'm getting the connection depth of this modulation connection, and then I think I should add here, because it's not a vertical drag but just a mouse wheel thing. Drag Y. Yeah, that looks reasonable to me. Let's test it. Something's not used. What is it? Oh, this is not used. Okay, then I can remove it. So now let's test it. Mouse wheel. Yeah, that works. Woohoo. Cool. So this feature is now in it as well. That's nice. Sensitive mouse wheel. Sensitive drag. Sensitive mouse wheel. Not normal mouse wheel. Okay, everything works. That's good. Basic plugin behavior. At least it should be basic, but a lot of plugins just don't implement it for some reason, even though you can see it's not very complicated. It's literally the easiest thing that I had left on my to-do list. Okay, show modulated value while dragging. Oh fuck, that's more complicated, because I have to come up with a logic on how I even want to display that. I have this little box here that always follows the cursor on the normal parameter value. And now I want to have one that is specifically designed for the modulation stuff. Wait, did it even save the modulation? Why does it not show it? Did I actually find a bug? Oh yeah, I did. Oh, but the modulation is there. It just wasn't painted. So I have to add something to my to-do list. Find out why init modulation not painted. Okay. I gotta say though, I only have very complicated things left on my to-do list now, and I'm not in the mood for it anymore for tonight. So I think that is it for the stream. Let me know how you think it was, or if you like streams like that, or I don't know, whatever you feel like or think of before I end the stream, because I would really like to know what everyone is thinking. Everyone who's not leaving right now, because I just saw 2 people are leaving. So if there are some opinions, that would be pretty cool. Okay, thanks for telling me that it's cool. That at least confirms me that the idea was not total rubbish, despite streams taking very long to look. I definitely save the streams on my channel unless I'm doing something that is absolutely dumb. Like if I started the stream and then suddenly got stuck on some bug for 5 hours, then I might not save it. But I think this session actually turned out pretty cool. Like I'm even surprised how much things worked out pretty quickly. That's often not the case, so I will definitely keep it. Okay, I think at this point I will just end the stream. If anyone else wanna say something about this, give me feedback or anything, then you can just come to my Discord. You can find the link to my Discord under all of my videos. So see you all next time.